Hello, all of my Semite brothers and sisters. It's Lynn Donovan. And I had an entire talk planned for today. And as I was getting ready, God said to me, well, he kind of hijacked my whole talk. So this is going to be way different than before. And he started talking to me as I was getting ready about the garden in our heart. And he said, I want you to go out and show them your garden that you have. And I've never really showed you guys around my place. And so I feel like that's what the Lord's asking me to do. And then just to tell you a little bit about the God that we know and serve. So it may be noisy, it may be crazy with dogs and people, and I don't know, my husband's letting the dogs out now, so if there's lots of barking at the fence, welcome to the Donovan house. But this is my garden, and you know, if you're friends with me on Facebook, on my personal page, I've shared my garden throughout the years. And it's really fascinating to me how much I love to garden. There's something just beautiful and brilliant about watching things grow. Okay, here's my tomato plants. You know, I plant a lot of tomatoes and make a lot of salsa in July. These are organic beefsteaks, so we'll see how they turn out. But they were only probably a few inches tall, and now they're 1.5 feet. Of course, growing them here in Southern California is interesting. Today's a very foggy day. And the peppers back there in the back, you can see I have sunflowers growing wild. I have a lot of stuff that replants itself, like in this planter box. All these are potato plants. Well, there's a cabbage and a few tomatoes, but they all replant themselves. And over here I planted some Indian corn for this fall, mainly for decoration. And back there's the peppers. Those little tiny plants will come on in the heat. Jalapenos love heat, and my husband loves jalapenos, so. And then I have a bunch of other stuff, and you can see my backyard. I love herbs. One of the beautiful things about the creative part of me that God created is I love to cook and try new recipes, and I love to use fresh herbs, so they're all coming in. Everybody, this is Gracie. Hello, Gracie. So anyway, this is my garden, and I wanted to show you one other thing about my garden. For many years, and in the summertime, I come out and sit by this fire pit over here. And I just listen for the Lord. And I've sat out here with my Bible and my coffee in the chairs and just listening for God. I've heard music, like a 4-stringed quartet come over that fence right there in the morning. And I just feel like the Lord's like, he hijacked this morning and said, I want you to tell my people about the garden. I want them to know about the garden that exists in my heart, in their heart. So anyway, so I thought it would be kind of neat to show you my actual garden and to let you know that God the Father, I don't know if you know this, but he loves to garden, and he has a garden in heaven. It may be weird to know, but I think I've actually seen it in a dream, or him gardening and pruning roses, and nothing dies there. It kind of falls to the ground and gets absorbed and becomes a new bloom. But I want to tell you about the garden that is in our heart. And so many people don't realize that we have a garden in our heart where the Father loves to meet with us. And so I just want to give you a glimpse of what that looks like. The garden in your heart is a time that is cultivated through intimacy and through prayer. And often I will join the Father in the garden of my heart. And there I sit on the bench. I sit on the bench of love with him. And I often tell him, you know, what's going on in my heart. And I tell him about my worries of the day. And today, when I was praying and walking with the Lord, I felt this compulsion, like I need to be praying for the state of California where I live, especially with all the weird stuff that's happening in the legislature and the oppression that I feel that is certainly here in the state of California. I want to pray for our nation. I'm out walking, and God just keeps turning me back to, like, Lynn, come join me in the garden. And so that is a real place in our spirit. I believe in our heart is a garden where we meet with the Lord and we spend time with him in the garden. And yeah, here come the barking dogs. Sorry about that. Welcome to our house. But God's like, tell them about what happens in the garden. And this is where I just meet with the Lord, and it's intimacy. And this is where I've learned about who God's character is. And God's like, Lynn, just tell my people, tell my sons and my daughters what it's really like, who I'm really like. And I know there's so many misconceptions about who the Father God is, just